Okay, for our last section today, we're going to look at the inequality symbols and some key phrases that might help you with the homework today. So let me go to my hand here, and here we have a chart, and on that chart it just gives you some key phrases. So these are all your key phrases. Up above that it has the symbols that correspond to each of those phrases, and so if you get to a word sentence when you're trying to write any from that and you get stuck on which one you need to use, it's kind of a cheat sheet to go back up there and help you figure that out. So a couple of them. So less than, it'll say is less or is fewer. If it's more than or greater than, they'll say is greater or is more. If it's less than or equal to, you'll see less than or equal to, of course. Is at most or is no more than. And for greater than or equal to, it'll say, of course, greater than or equal to, is at least, or is no less than. So those are a couple of things that if you do get stuck, you can actually write this table down, and I'll put it back up there after the notes so that you can write it down and use that in case you get stuck. So let's look at below. Here we have a number sentence that says a number q plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7.9. And you'll see that I've color-coded each part of this because each part of this is going to represent part of the inequality that you write down. So what you're trying to do is go ahead and write the inequality from this sentence. And so let's go to orange and look at that first part of it. So a number q plus 5. So when you write that down, that's simply q plus 5. Okay, so let's go look at the green section. So here's where we're looking at some of our key phrases. So is greater than or equal to. So I know that greater than or equal to is this, but if you couldn't think about that to start right off with, you can go in there and say, well, here's greater than or equal to, and if I look up, here's the symbol that goes with it. So you can do either. And then, of course, this would just bring down. So I'll put it in blue. So is a negative 7.9. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite that whole thing just in white so you don't have all the colors on there. But q plus 5 is greater than or equal to a negative 7.9. Okay, so all we did was wrote the inequality from the sentence up here. Okay, and like I said, if you need to use some of the key phrases from the table that I put at the top, you're welcome to do that. Alright, so let's look at a couple more of those just to show you the differences. So let me slide that up just a little bit, and let's look at this one. How about if we said okay, a number x minus 5 is at most 10. Okay, well, let's look at our parts of this. So we have a number x minus 5. We kind of have our key phrase here, which is at most. And then, of course, our number over here, 10. Okay, so a number x minus 5, that's pretty easy. So how about just x minus 5? Okay, so if it's at most, it could be up to 10, but it can't be any greater than 10. So x minus 5 must be less than, and it can be 10, so we can put the equal to in there. And I was supposed to actually make that green. Let me trace over it here for you. Okay, and then of course our number 10. Okay, so x minus 5 is less than or equal to 10. And that kind of corresponds to what we had up here. A number x minus 5, there's that part, is at most, so it's less than or equal to, because it can be up to 10, and then 10. Okay, so let's look at one more that looks like a multiplication problem. So let me slide this up. Okay, so let's look at this one. We'll do twice the number y is more than negative 5 over 2. Okay. Okay. So let's look at our parts of this. So on the first part we have twice the number y, and then we have is more than, and we have our negative 2. So we'll do this one in a little bit different order. We will do the first part first. So twice the number y, that's our multiplication. So that's just 2 times y, or 2y. And over here we have our negative 2, okay? And now we just have to look at the inequality. So which inequality sign? So you can go back up to the top and look or use your table, but we said if it's more than, so this has to be more than. So I know that I'm going to open the large part of the inequality so it faces that side, so it says 2y is more than negative 2. So then I can decide, do I put an equal sign under that? Well, in this case we don't, because it says it has to be more than a negative 2. So it can't actually be negative 2. So we're just going to leave it just like this. So it's 2y is greater than and negative 2. Okay, so there's a couple examples. So the next thing I actually want to do is we want to move a little bit forward, and we're going to go ahead and start checking solutions. So let me title this here. Okay, so we're just checking solutions at this point, and what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to give you a value for your variable, and then what I want you to do is plug that value in and see if it's a solution to the inequality or not. So I'll give you an example that will have both. So one will be a solution and one will not be a solution. So let's the first one here, and we'll call this A, and we'll say y minus 5 is greater than or equal to a negative 6, and then we'll put b over here, and we'll say that b is a negative 5y is less than 14. Okay, so now we need a value for y. So up here I'll put that in blue. Let's say check the solutions if y equals, how about a negative 2. Okay, so we're just going to plug a negative 2 in for wherever y is. So here we have a negative 2 minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 6. Alright, and I'm going to change that into an addition. So all I'm going to do is write negative 2, and I'm going to put a plus, slide the negative over to the 5, and now put greater than negative or equal to negative 6. Okay, so we have a negative 2 plus a negative 5. That gives us a negative 7. Bring down the greater than or equal to and negative 6. So it says, is a negative 7 greater than negative 6? And the answer to that is, of course, no. So that solution does not work. And if you want to visualize what that looks like on a number line, we can do that real quick. So we'll actually put 0 up here. Okay, and what that's saying is you have, let's do a color here, you have your negative 7 right here, and it's saying that that is greater than the negative 6, which isn't true, because 6 is actually closer to 0 up here. So remember, as you move this way on the number line, the numbers get less. So that one doesn't work. So the answer, of course, is no. So let's look at B for a second then. And so here we have negative 5, and then that's times y, and we said y is a negative 2. and is less than 14. Alright, so remember that when you multiply or divide two negatives, you get a positive. So negative 5 times a negative 2 is a positive 10. And then copy down the less than 14. And in this case, is 10 less than 14? And it is, and so we can just say yes. Okay, that is a solution. So with A, not a solution. With B, negative 2 is a solution. So two examples of how you check solutions. So essentially all you need to do there is whatever value they give for the variable, go ahead and plug that into the inequality and do the math, and then find out if it reads as true or false. So instead of saying yes or no, you could put true or false. So okay, so that should conclude it for our notes today, and you should have plenty of time to do the homework. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email, or because you're seeing this in class, just raise your hand. Okay, thanks.